Well, it's been a long time coming for this video, but we officially have another car that hit 100 trips. This thing right here, the car that started it all, has officially passed 100 trips on Turo. So I'm going to take you through the whole thing, tell you about its journey, no pun intended, and where it's headed in the future. Let's get into it. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another video. Those of you that don't know me, my name is Joe. I run a rental car business here in Jacksonville, Florida, and this is our 2020 Dodge Journey, and it officially surpassed 100 trips. Actually, as of this video, it is actually well over 120 trips, but this thing is so busy that I rarely get an opportunity to get around it and film it. So I wanted to take the opportunity while it's here to show you all about the car and what it's been through over the course of all of these trips. Now, of course, as I mentioned, this is the car that started it all. This was the first car that we ever listed on Turo. We technically did list one vehicle and it only went on one trip, but this is the car that started the business. It all began because we bought this car brand new from the dealership. We had to trade in a vehicle and this was the best option that we had at the time for our family. And it basically sat like right where my car is in the driveway, and it was sitting for days, weeks at a time. And I said, you know what, let me go ahead and just list this thing on Turo and see how it does. And when we listed it, it was getting booking after booking after booking, and lo and behold, it was doing really well. So we're just about 2.5 years into owning this car, and I just want to take you around the entire thing and show you some of the things that we have gone through with it and some of the things that it still needs as of right now. So one really common thing that is a problem with these Dodge Journeys is these headlights. So I can turn this car on, put the headlights on for a little over an hour, and all this moisture will go away. But not long after I shut the car off, it all comes back. So it does need at least new headlights. This car does still have a warranty on it, so I can contact the dealer and see if they will replace these for me for my deductible of $100. So that's going to be the next thing. If I can't, I can buy the headlights pretty cheap and I can do it myself. Now, over the course of 2.5 years, this car has had just over almost 67,000 miles put on it. So it has had its fair share of driving, but in the amount of time that it has been driven, it has been doing extremely well. There is some wear that's happening on the seats, so you can see a lot of the wrinkling, but there are no tears in the seats. It's actually in pretty good shape still. The driver's seat is the most commonly sat in, obviously, and it's getting pretty matted. Some of the padding is kind of pressing down a little bit, but as far as the material and the hardware and all that stuff, everything still works really well. The seat still moves. Everything is good in here. Now, moving on into the back, this is one thing that if you were renting the car, you probably would never know. If you're watching this video, you will know now. When you pull on this lever right here where my hand is, this portion of the seat is supposed to raise up, and then this is supposed to move forward and then go towards the driver's seat. But what happens is, as I pull the lever, it just moves forward. I have made attempts to fix this and it did work for a little bit, but it didn't stay like that for long. It's now messed up again, and the seat still moves forward. It still gives you enough room to get into the back seat. So I've kind of just left this alone, and maybe one day if I feel bored and I feel like I want to fix it, maybe I will try to fix this, but I'm not super worried about it. Now, if you remember, if you've watched some of my videos, this car was part of a pretty big rear end collision, and we had to redo all of the bumper components underneath, the actual bumper itself, the absorber, the bumper cover, all of the reverse sensing system components needed to be replaced, and that was a huge job. It was just over $7,000 for everything to get replaced. And as we've had this car for a little bit, it does show some signs of those repairs. The door does rub on the bumper cover a little bit when you shut the trunk, but it's nothing that's really worth getting worried about or pointing out to the collision shop. That's just one of those things that we're just kind of going to let go for now. As you can tell already, the car has had stuff loaded in here and the bumper's gotten scratched up. That's just to be expected, as you have a car that has gone on 120 plus trips. And again, you know, if you look at the interior panels here, this is normal. That is stuff that you can expect when you rent out a car on Turo. If you decide to do your own vehicle, there will be scratches in the interior. That's going to happen continuously. And even if you look at the top right here, more of the same. Now, this car did get back from a rental a couple days ago and we have not cleaned it yet, so please excuse the little bit of that mess. This is not how the car is going to go to the next guest. But if I pull this lever, I'm going to show you what normally happens. Now, it was pretty slow to do it, but it's supposed to raise up like that and allow you to move the seat forward. But again, nothing to worry about. The third row was lowered so that we could put luggage in here. I actually just picked up my family from Michigan, but the third row is in really good shape. And we also still have our WeatherTech floor mats inside this car as well. And a little known fact of this car is if you remove this floor mat, underneath here is actually a cooler where you can store stuff underneath there. So a lot of people don't know about that. I do tell them there is a hidden cooler in there if you wanted to put some stuff in there. And then moving on to the passenger side, everything's all in pretty good shape, as I mentioned. Again, some scratching and things like that. All normal things to expect when renting a car out on Turo. I actually did rent this car out to somebody who stuck a cell phone holder inside the vent here, and it actually broke the fin on the vent. So we looked up a new part, we ordered the part, so now all of the vents work perfectly fine on here now. The only other thing repair-wise that we have had to do on this vehicle was the reverse camera was staticking and acting a little weird. So we called the dealer. That was covered under warranty. We just had to pay the deductible. We went and took the car in and they actually replaced the entire backup camera and everything is working perfectly fine again. Other than basic maintenance, there really has not been much that we've had to do with this car. It's actually been a really good, reliable car, which is shocking because a lot of things you look at on Dodge Journeys, you hear a lot of negative things, and I think a lot of that has to do with previous ownership and their maintenance of the vehicle. This is really a cheap vehicle. It really does have a lot of the older technology in it, so you probably can get better deals on a car like this one. This one does not come with Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. It does come with Bluetooth, but the technology is basically the way the car rolled off the line back in whatever it was, 2011 or 2012. It's the same car. Nothing much has changed as far as the tech in the vehicle, or even any of the styling of it for that matter. So if you find one of these cars used, I would definitely tell you look at the maintenance history of the vehicle before you pick something up like this. I don't want to tell you that this car has been good for us and then you go and look for the same type of vehicle and it's not the same experience. I do find a lot of Dodge Journeys on the side of the road, and that's probably indicative of a lot of future issues that could come down the line, or it could come from things like abuse of the vehicle, lack of maintenance, things of that nature. So do we have a future in store for this vehicle? Yeah, we're going to keep on listing it. We're at just over 120 trips, as I mentioned, and it is still doing really well. It is practical for a family. It is a little bit smaller. It's classified as a compact SUV, so it does not necessarily fit your family as comfortably as, say, a minivan or a larger SUV, but it does do the job as far as fitting 7 passengers, and if you're traveling light, then putting the baggage in there. Even if you have 5 people in here, the cargo room with that third row down is actually pretty decent, and I've been able to fit more things in this car than I have been in our RAV4. So our plan is to continue with it, and the only repair, as I mentioned, that this car really needs are those headlights, so that's going to be next on our docket as far as things that need to be fixed. So we plan on calling out to the dealership and finding out how much they will charge to replace those 2 headlights if it is covered under warranty. If it's not, then we're heading off to eBay and we're going to buy at least the housing, and we will keep the wiring as long as it's not a salvage part. If it's a part that came off of another Dodge Journey, we may keep all of the components and just reuse them. But I have been burned by electrical components on eBay before, so I will probably just take the wiring and the headlights out of the factory ones that are in here and place the original bulbs back inside. If you want to rent this one, I will include a link to it down in the description below. And if you want to list a vehicle with us, if you want us to manage a vehicle for you, reach out to us. I will leave my email address in the description as well. We will talk to you about anything. If you do not have a vehicle that we think will do well, we will be transparent and let you know of that. This is not going to be some sort of sales pitch, as I mentioned, where we're trying to get all vehicles that we possibly can. We do want vehicles that we think are going to make money, and not just for us, but for you as well. If you need to rent a car in Jacksonville, please visit AchooRentals.com. We have everything from small compact cars to nice size SUVs that'll fit pretty decent amount of your family and your baggage as well. And we still have that beautiful minivan to seat 7 passengers and all of the baggage that you possibly need as well. And with that being said, that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you again for watching, and please, if you like this content, give it a big thumbs up and consider subscribing. Have a great day, everybody.